How you doing today, guys? Welcome back to another day of 7th grade math. This is cycle 2021-2022. And today we're going to be talking about a little bit about adding rational numbers. Now, I have already done videos about this in the past, and you can find similar videos to this one, maybe even the same ones with different approaches on the playlist that you can find on my channel. Again, this is Mr. Gomez, favorite teacher in the whole world, and today adding rational numbers. So, we're going to go over the problems that I left for my classroom. And if you have any questions, at the end we have questions. We're going to have time to do Q&As. So I told my class to do questions numbers 2, 6 and 7, and then 12 and on. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. And those are the ones that we're going to do. So number 2, we're going to be using a number line. Again, remember, we have, now that we're adding rational numbers, we're going to have a mix of positives and negatives, and we're going to have to use a set of rules. And I'm going to write those rules on the side in a little bit. Hopefully, this will help you throughout the assignment. So first of all, if we have the same sign, we're gonna add the two numbers or three numbers or whatever numbers and keep the sign. So we're gonna add and keep the sign. However, if we have opposite numbers, is a different story. We're gonna subtract. However, we're gonna keep the sign of the bigger number. So opposite signs we're gonna subtract and keep the sign of the big number. Okay? Now, these rules are only going to apply for adding and subtracting. There's different rules for multiplying and dividing, and we're going to get to those whenever we get there. So number 2, we're just going to find the sum of each number. So we have 1 plus a negative 8. So on a number line, it's very simple. All we got to do is, first of all, put a dot where the first number lays. We're looking at 1. That's going to be my first number, and I'm going to put in a number 1, a dot right there. And then we're going to add 8 negatives. So again, on a number line, if it's positive, you go to the right. If it's negative, you go to the left. Very good. In this case, we have a negative 8. So we're going to move how many? How many to the left? 8. So from here, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And where we land is my answer. That's simple. Now, if we follow the rule that I wrote over here, we can clearly see that we can do this without the numeric line. So we have opposite signs. We're going to subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. And when you subtract, you can rewrite them. So I will just do 8 minus 1, which is 7. But I know my negative is, the number 8 is bigger, so the answer has to be negative. Sometimes it's just faster to do it like that than doing a numeric line. We're going to do another sample, number 6. We have integer. What type of numbers are these? These are integers, right? No? Rational numbers? Yes, rational numbers because they're negative and they're decimals. So, again, first thing we got to do, look at the sign, especially if you have multiple choice answers, okay? If whenever you have multiple choice answers, you might have 4 answers. Look at the signs of those answers. If you're looking for a positive and there's 2 answers that are negative, then delete the negatives. So forth, so on. Okay, that's the first thing I will do. Strategies. In this case, I have 2 negative numbers that I'm going to add. So, same signs, add and keep the signs. So, for starters, I know both of them are negative. So, my answer has to be negative. Right off the bat. I haven't done anything and I know my answer has to be negative. Any questions so far? At this point, if you haven't done so, please go ahead and consider subscribing, and let's move on. So the two numbers that I have are, what's so special about these numbers? They're decimals, right? Like I said, we're just going to add them. So we have 4.9 and 3.5. The special thing about this is that we have to line them up. We have to line up the decimals. And if we had empty spots, we just fill them with zeros, okay? In this case, we don't, because both of them ends in tenths. But if one of them ended in tenth and the other one in hundredths, then you will have to add a zero. That way you can line them up and subtract them properly, okay? But in this case, we're adding, so we don't need to add anything. We're just going to go ahead and add. 5 and 9 is 14, carry the 1. 4 and 4 is 8. Bring the decimal, and my answer is negative 8.4, and I'm done. And this is what I want to see on your paper. Just the work. How you got the answer, you did it like that. Questions so far? Number 7. We have mixed numbers. Both of them are negative, so my answer has to stay negative. We previously discussed this off the video. However, I do have videos about this. This is a really easy mixed number question, okay? So in this case, what I will do is I will just combine the two fractions. I have 2 quarters. If I add a quarter plus a quarter, I get 1/2, right? So my fraction is going to be 1/2. And then I can add these two negatives. Negative 3 and negative 2 is 5. And I already said my answer is negative, and that is my answer. That's it. However, if you needed to take this in a different approach where the denominators are different, remember the denominator is going to be the number in the bottom. That's my denominator. If the denominators are different, then we will have to convert the mixed number into an improper fraction. And I'm going to do a sample over here. Because we don't have any more samples like that, I don't think. So I'm going to do an example. Like, for example, if you had negative 2 and 1/3. And you need to convert that into an improper fraction before you can add or subtract. And the way we do that, we multiply, then add. And we go this way. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7, and the bottom is 3. Of course, it's negative. The denominator does not change. And if you had another mixed number, you will do the same thing, and then you will have to find the common denominator. We're going to do the common denominator thing on number 14. So that's a sample right there. Yes, ma'am. Any questions, anybody so far? All right, cool. Number 12. By the way, number 7 can help you with number 9, with number 14, number 6, oh, and also number 5. Number 6 is going to be able to help you with number 8, 10, 11. We're going to do 12 and 13. So number 12, we have not 2 things that we're going to combine together. We have 3 things. Yes. Yes. So the first thing that I got to look at is my signs, okay? So I have 3 different things. I have 2 negatives and 1 positive. Okay. We're going to combine the 2 that are the same sign. If we have something that is the same sign, let's go ahead and combine them first. Okay? So in this case, I can break these down into this section and then take care of the positive. Now, just by looking at that, I have 2 of them that are negative. If you can kind of estimate how much that's going to be, is the answer going to be positive or negative? Negative, because I have 3 and then I have 1 point something, so it's going to be 4 point something, right? And 4 point something is more than 2.5. 4 point something is negative, so my answer has to be negative, regardless. Now, with that being said, 3 plus 135. We're talking about, let's talk about money. I have $3, and then I have 135. How much do you have total? 435. So this right here is 4. So these two right here are negative 4.35. And now I'm going to add 2.5. So that means that you can get rid of that one because it now became one thing. Now we have a binomial. Binomial means 2 because of bi. Trinomial means 3 because of tri. Polynomial means more than 1. Okay? And both those are going to be 4, 5, 6, and whatever. So let's see. Now we have negative 435 and 250. If we think about money, let's pretend that you owe me $4.35. And then you have some money today and you pay me. You pay me $2.50. Did you pay me the whole thing? No, you still owe me a little bit more, right? How do we find that? We just go ahead and subtract. Again, opposite signs. We have a negative and a positive. Opposite signs, subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So it's going to be 435 minus 2.5. And this is what I mean by empty spaces, right? Go ahead and fill them with zeros. Because we're subtracting, especially if that number was at the top and you don't put in a 0, you're going to have a hard time. Just fill in with zeros. Now this is going to be 5. What's this? 5 to 13. How much is that? 8 right here. And then this is 2. Bring down the decimal. How much do you still owe me? $2.85. That's my answer. Any questions so far? Okay, step 1 on this one. Combine like terms. We don't have any x's or variables or anything like that. So my like terms are going to be those with the same sign in this case. And then you can move on. Number 13 is the same thing. However, let's look at the signs. How many negatives do I have? 1, 2, 3. Everything is a negative. So we're just going to add them but keep the sign. So my answer is going to be positive or negative? Negative. Remember, the sign rules for adding and subtracting are different than the ones for multiplication and division. Do not get those confused. Okay, so over here, we're just going to add them all up. I already established that my answer is going to be negative. Let's go ahead and do that. I have 6.5, 0.15, and then 0.2. What do we do to the blank spaces? Add zeros right there. Always do that. And we're going to have a good time. So, this is 5. 5 and 2 is 7 and 1 is 8. Bring down the 6. So my answer is going to be negative what? 6.85. That's my answer. Questions so far? All right. So number 14. What happens when you have a fraction with different denominators? First of all, let's look at the signs. I have 2 negatives and 1 positive. Let's look at the sign. 2 negatives, 1 positive. So the answer, it looks like it's going to be negative. This is right here is an improper fraction, right? So if we need to convert improper to proper, we have a way, and I'm going to show you that at the end. So over here, we're going to combine the two that are negative right there. So in this case, my answer is going to end up being negative. So in order to combine this, we need to have the same what? Denominator. Do we have the same one? No. So there's a way to do this, to find it really quick, and I'm going to show you a super fast way to find it. So I'm going to take this on the side, and I'm going to go like this. First off, multiply the bottom. That's going to be what? 8. Multiply these two. 3 times 4 is 12. However, is what? Negative. Then minus 2 times 7 is 14. Right? So now you can add. 12 and 14 is 26. 26 eighths. Can you simplify that? This is going to be negative 13 fourths. Or you can just multiply this whole thing by 4, this whole thing by 2, and you get the same answer. Or you can just multiply this whole thing by 2 and just change the first one. Okay, so we have this becomes negative 13 fourths plus 1/8. Do I still have the same denominator? No, so again, we do the same thing. I can just multiply this one by 2 to become an 8, right? 2 times 13 is negative 26. And the bottom is 8. Look at this. It's the same one, right? Plus 1/8. Opposite signs, we're going to subtract, so there's negative 25 eighths. Do I leave my answer as an improper fraction? We got to change that back into a mixed number, right? How do we do that, mister? Easy. T-Bow. Top in, bottom out. I know my answer is going to be negative 25 divided by 8. How many times does 8 go into 25? 3 times 8 is 24, right? Subtract and you get 1. Well, how do I write this as a mixed number, mister? By the way, if you needed to convert into a decimal, you just keep going. 2 places, 3 places, whatever the case, most likely hundreds, right? You just keep going. Add a 0, bring it down, and keep going. For mixed number, we stop at the remainder. So this is going to be your whole number. Numerator, denominator. And that's going to be your answer. Negative 3 and 1/8. Any questions on that one? If there's any questions, please go ahead and check out the other videos. Let's move on. Number 15. Alex borrowed $12.50 from his friend Danilo. That's weird. My name is Alex and I have a friend, his name is Danilo. He actually came to this school. Okay, Danilo paid him back $8.75. How much does he owe him? Oh, he paid him back $8.75. How much does he still owe him? So again, let's look at the keywords. Borrowed $12.50. He paid him back $8.75. So we gotta start recognizing what words are gonna be negatives, what words are gonna be positives. Okay? In this case, this is gonna be my negative, and this one is going to be my positive. Okay? So I have a negative and a positive. Which one's bigger, the negative or the positive? Negative. So my answer is going to be negative, right? Now it says that it also tells you how much does he still owe him. So if you owe money, that's negative, right? The question is right here. So again, $12.50 minus 8.75. You might be able to do this on your head, but I need to see the work, correct? Mister, do I write the question on my notebook? No. All you gotta do is show me this right here, what I'm about to do. So this is 5. This is 7. This is 3. And this is 0. How much does he still owe him? And you're done. Easy, right? Next one. Football team gains. What does gain mean? Add or subtract? It means add, right? Gains means to add. And then loses, what does those loses mean? Subtract. 18 minus 12. That's literally what you're doing. 18 minus 12. How much is that? That's it. Super simple, right? But you gotta recognize what gains mean, what loses means. Common sense, right? Most of the time. Number 17, DD bought an apple for 85 cents, a sandwich for $4.50, and a bottle of water for $1.50. How much money did she spend? What do you have to do? How much? Add. All we're doing is adding. I don't care if it's positive or negative. We're just looking for a total. How much money she spent. So all we gotta do, line everything up and add them. So 0.85 plus $4.50 plus $1.50. We add this up. What do we get? We got 5 at the end. 5 and 5 is 10 and 8 is 18. Carry the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5 and 1 is 6. So how much did she spend? Boom. And I think we're going to finish this. Number 18. Andrew went hiking near his house. The first trail he hiked, it took him 4.5 miles away from his house. So let's say this one, a drawing might help. A little small drawing might help you. So the house. The first one is 4.5 miles. The second one took him 2.4 miles closer to his house. So I guess this one came like this from the house. And the third one took him 1.7 miles further away from his house. So from here, 1.7. Well, it's not to scale, but you get the idea, right? How far is he from his house? So again, if it took him away, that means what? Subtract. So this is gonna be, I meant to highlight that, negative. Closer, that's positive, right? And the last one is further out, means to what? Subtract. So we have the pink ones are negatives, the positive is the green one. So let's combine the negatives first, right? So we have 1.7 and 4.5. The answer is going to be negative, right? This is what? 12, carry the 1, that's 5. 5.2, negative. Plus, so we're going to subtract 5.2 minus 2.4. My answer is still going to be what? Positive or negative? Negative, because this is bigger, right? Let's subtract. We got 8, and this is 2. So how far is he away from his house? 2.8 miles. That's my answer. Any questions, anybody? Well, I really hope that you learned something today. If you did, give it a thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Other than that, that is going to be it for this one. Stay tuned. More videos coming up. That's it for today. See you next time. Goodbye.